Christmas season at Perambur was truly a special time of the year.
I just walked down the street, it would just be twinkling lights, decorations in every home. And what struck me was every house would be open, every door would be open. And there was like food, great food, baking smells, and
the very air itself had that misty smell, that cold season, that chillness used to set in. That would itself give you the feeling that Christmas was nearing. The next was Moor Market. And there you would find practically all the Anglo-Indians you would bump into, not only from Chennai, but from Trichy, Bangalore, all the places. We would all meet up.
During the Christmas season, some program they'd have Miss Dave and dance, Oti and dance, fancy dress and dance, fancy dress with the seniors too, they used to have.
Used to have the Anglo-Indian Association Christmas treats, and this Jerry Rodriguez, he used to be the clown, and everybody loved him. He was really very funny.
He used to dress up as a clown.
Yes, exactly as a clown. And he's now in Ballard Street.
The midnight mass, where all will come in their best attire, and the crowd carols singing. We used to go about house to house singing carols as a big group, all of us join with all the boys and girls. We'll go to each one's house for 1 week, we'll have a program.
From the time I'm in Perambur, every year without fail till date, it is more than 40 years, we go for carol singing. We take out the group. Till now, nobody is willing to do that. And even last year, we went out. Of course, as youngsters, and now we're becoming old also.
Weary, tired, dusty one, we knocked at every inn. Was a baby to be born, a new life to begin, and it's a great day in Bethlehem. Great day in Bethlehem. Great day in Bethlehem, in a stable at the back of the inn.
And then every weekend you had, without fail, the tombola and combined with the dance. And there were other bands which also played, the Fernandez brothers, like New Renditions, and some other people whom I don't really know. But these functions were organized by Mr. Horace Rollins, Mr. Sons, and 1 or 2 other people.
Christmas lights and the music and people singing and laughing, and it was like fairy tale land. Just that one street. Those memories are so powerful in my mind, it's unbelievable.
Christmas time will all be lit up, huh?
Lit up, every house, they'll have competition. Every house. And music and singing and fashion was there.
I used to actually get my dresses stitched by Auntie Mary, because her daughters were a similar age group as me and we were all friends. And I remember I was very close to them as well, and Auntie keep her daughter's dresses, her niece and my dress, the last dresses to stitch, because she would not want anybody else to see what we are stitching. You know how it is at that time. It was like you go for mass, Christmas mass, it's more like a fashion parade. Everyone's wanting to see what somebody else is wearing on. So Auntie will hide our material and she won't show anyone our dresses. And mass starts at 11 o'clock. Auntie is still stitching our dresses at 9 o'clock in the night. So we'll go to Auntie's house, get dressed and go for mass.
Your dresses and all for Christmas and Easter?
Oh, Gani. Nowhere else. And how we are so lost without her. I don't think you'll ever get another tailor like her. Now it is Alauddin, but I call him Aladdin. I cannot call him Alauddin now. I call him Aladdin now. We go to him.
Where is he?
Perambur Barracks Road, from that Waikiki complex. That on that road he is there. Me stitching my daughter's wedding dress.
You never tried charms, huh?
No, that is one different set of people who will go to charms. There was my friend Heather Danigan, and now she's Heather Morris. She's also in Australia, and she'll go to charms. So we both used to go. She'll go to charms, and I'll go to Gani.
My mom and my uncle used to make cake as well in the house, and I remember them, they put the cake in those trays and take them down to Ajanta Bakery. There was another bakery, I can't remember that name, but Ajanta Bakery was one of them, to get them baked. And it used to be awesome.
Serena Rosario lives in Perth with her husband Sean and their 2 daughters Chantel and Shauna. She makes it a point to come down each year to give a Christmas treat to the poor in the community at Perambur and Ainavaram.
Growing up, I know what it was to have financial difficulties. My parents struggled a lot financially. I was fortunate enough to have, I could say, like guardian angels. My aunts were very always there for us, not just financially but morally also there to support us. But also I know what it is, like the value of a rupee or a dollar. So for me, I feel if somebody is struggling, I feel that I have to help them because I know I've been there, I've done that, and I know what the struggles are.
She has used crowdfunding for her cause to good effect.
They did not know that they are going to be given money for Christmas. So when they actually opened that envelope and they seen that there is money there, they cried, and they said, whoever it is, because we did not say our names last year, we said let it just be unknown. They cried and said, please tell that person thank you. So I think that touched me a lot. Hopefully people tend to realize, people living overseas tend to watch videos like this and come forward as well and do something for the community, because there are a lot of people in Madras who need help.
In 2019, she ran a dance in Perth under the banner of Anglos in the Wind, which was a sellout, and used the proceeds to host a Christmas party for the poor in the community from different parts of the city at St. George's School. December 31st was always a big day for the community, as all roads in the city led to Hawksfield at Binnie's for the New Year ball. It was quite the toast of the season.
Christmas and New Year we used to go for the Binnie party. Binnie used to have a big party, and there they'll say you're not allowed unless you have a coat.
Did you enjoy those New Year dances?
Yeah, not only the dance, the music, the food, and the liveliness. There was no hypocrisy there. There was a total let your head down sort of issue. There were a lot of Anglos who were GMs and others, but when they come here, they're all happy-go-lucky.
The entire Anglo community will be present there, New Year. Once a year we meet everyone, we say hello, we wish everyone, we greet everyone. It was something very meaningful, something very exciting and thrilling for us to enjoy, that on a festive occasion like Christmas and New Year. The community was very united, and wherever we were, we would always keep in touch.
We would be dancing till 5:36 in the morning, and we wouldn't want to go home. And then straight from the dance, we'll all go to Cosmos Hotel or Moideen, and either have a biryani at that point of the morning, because we're so hungry, dancing the whole night long. Have a biryani, have a cup of tea, coffee, go for mass, and then go home.
They had groups like these Rhythm Aces and Blue Diamonds and other things. In fact, if you go to Martha Studio in Perambur, you will still find photographs of these people all neatly sitting on chairs with the cards painted out in front of them. It used to be a large elaborate affair of about 9 to 10 people in each band. And the other band which used to come, Commandos. And of course, you had 1 or 2 exceptional musicians also from here.
Fabian Holt?
Pardon?
Fabian Holt.
Fabian Holt, yeah. Fabian Holt stayed just opposite to me. Fabian and his brother Ian. And he played along with a group called Down Sterling, of which a friend of ours, a good friend of ours, Russell De Silva, was the lead guitarist. Russell is in the USA now. And Fabian Holt became a very established bass guitarist from Perambur, and a very down-to-earth person. I think he's a chartered accountant now and is in Australia. So looking forward to see Fabian whenever he does come down to Perambur again.
In December we used to have dances on the 25th, on the 26th, on the 27th, on the 28th, on the 29th and 31st.
Did you dance?
Yeah, of course. We used to enjoy the dances. 2 rupees a ticket for the dance all night. So 10 rupees for 5 tickets was nothing for my daddy. And he'd say, if one goes, all will go. If one doesn't go, all will go. We used to enjoy. We had Sid Taylor's band, Harry Pinto's band, we had the Caravels, we had Ella Fitzgerald. She had a band.
Oh, who played the saxophone?
Saxophone, Harry Pinto. Harry Pinto used to play guitar and saxophone and piano.
Very talented.
We are a musical family, you see.
Yes, can you tell me something about the Beatles? You have the Perambur Beatles.
Yeah. So this one is Mari Rigo. Then the second one was Margaret Dubia. And this is Phoebe Rigo on the drums. And this is Mrs. Held. And this is myself, June Ribeiro. I was June Ribeiro.
Okay.
I was 19 years that time.
All right. So where was this photo taken?
This was taken at the Railway Institute, Perambur.
Okay. And how come you all managed to get identical suits? Any story to that?
Not identical.
Yeah,
It's
similar.
just, I don't know from where they got their suits.
Okay.
But I was telling, I don't know anyone here. Whose suit will I wear? Then, just then I saw Desmond Mantle passing by on the cycle. And I told Mrs. Held, that boy's suit will fit me. And she said, oh, I know him. I'll get it for you. And that's how because I didn't know him at all. And then she called him and asked for a suit. And it fitted me very well.
Now we used to go to the dance from 1954.
My goodness.
Every Saturday there was a dance in the Railway Institute at a rate of 8 annas a ticket. Now it's known as 50 paise. 50 paise.
And who ran the dance?
The railway secretary of the railway. He used to run the dance from 9 o'clock to 12 o'clock. Once there was Mr. Assi there who used to play the records for us, and the minute he puts a yellow record, we know the dance has come to an end. Yellow record was that Janagana. That was the last dance
so
of the
every
night.
dance ended with the national anthem.
And people used to get into the dance halls by 9 o'clock, 9:30, and we knew we can dance our feet away till 5 in the morning and go straight to the next day's church.
At least in Perambur, for the English service, the church is packed. We have masses at 6, 9, sometimes 11, evening 6, all our masses. And for Easter, Christmas, sometimes I used to think for the first midnight mass, vigil mass, being New Year's Day, all will be in partying, but we get a full packed ground for the English mass. So,
Indeed, the church has been of central importance to the community.
The origin of the Fatima Church in Tambaram started with my grandfather. There was no church, Catholic church in Tambaram at the time when he was a PW inspector on the railways and posted to Tambaram. And the closest church for them was the Palavaram St. Francis Xavier's Church, which they attended every Sunday. So after a few years, my grandfather decided to build a church in Tambaram with permission from the Archbishop, and he and a few others approached the Archbishop of Mylapore to donate the land or buy the land in Tambaram, and my grandfather said he would build that church, which is what happened. And they built a small church which was quite big enough for the community at that time.
And then they imported that statue from Portugal, which was a really beautiful original statue. Beautiful, it was up on the high altar.
I think the statue is still inside.
Yes, now it's on the side, but it's there.
But the church was built in which year?
I think 37, 38.
Yeah, 36, 37.
Yes.
Because I think it was
Opened.
and opened in 1937.
Yeah. And the first parish priest was Father Rodrigues.
The Sacred Heart Church at Selayur stands on land donated by their grandmother, Edith Fernandez.
She's buried there, our aunt is buried
She
there.
asked to be buried.
So she is quite well recognized by the local people of that area.
They go and pray at her graveside, light candles and all that.
Okay, and what's the extent of land?
10 acres.
Now the church, they developed a lot. More than 750 families are here. They are all remembering you when during the mass also. And also we started the school also. Mount Carmel Matriculations School also we started flourishing because of your generous heart. So thank you very much. On behalf of our Tamil Nadu Carmelite family, I am very grateful to you. Thank you very much. God bless.
Anglo-Indians were and are very religious as individuals and as a group.
Whatever the Holy Spirit inspires us to say, let us speak, Jesus. In your mighty name and authority, Lord, I beg you, dear Jesus, bless us, cover us with your precious blood. Precious blood, Lord Jesus, for your precious blood. By your wounds and by your stripes, we are healed, Jesus.
We say religion, but it's actually a relationship with God. And the moment we start to have that relationship with God, I think we'll be back on track.
God will make a way when there seems to be no way. He works in ways we cannot see. He will make a way for me. He will be my guide, hold me closely to his side. With love and strength for each new day, he will make a way. God will make a way.
Because Anglo-Indians have always been Christians, and so even though when you look at the world today, some of the Western countries, where Christianity is sort of fading away a little bit, but the Anglo-Indians are still very faithful, and that's a very strong identity. They're trying to help their children, which is a kind of challenging thing these days.
Tell us something about this coffee house that you run.
Well, coffee house the word coffee is an abbreviation of Christ offers forgiveness for everyone, everywhere. And I used to drink a lot in the past and used to do a lot of wild things. And it almost ruined my life. So when I gave my life to Jesus, I decided to use the word of God and through music reach out to our community, because our community loves music and very talented in musicians in our community. There's so many young girls and boys who can sing, who can play instruments. So why not? Why should the devil have all the fun?
God is good all the time. Through the darkest night, His light will shine. God is good. God is good all the time. Though I may not understand all the plans He has for me, my life is in His hands, and through the eyes of faith I can clearly see God is good all the time.
Certainly going to Mass, being involved in the church in various ways, singing in the choir, participating on parish councils, belonging to prayer groups, getting involved in parish feasts, making pilgrimages from time to places like Velankani or to Lourdes or Fatima or Bandel. This is a part of Anglo-Indian life. And
in Perambur, they have been the bedrock of the liturgical services in English.
Very pious, it's attached to the church and very regular for the first Mass we have in our parishes at 6 o'clock early in the morning. And the church will be almost full. So we have that type of very devout Anglo-Indians who are very faithful to the faith and to the Mass and other practices. If you go to any Anglo-Indian home, unlike the Tamil-speaking community, 99.5% of the Anglo-Indian homes will have the picture of the Sacred Heart, and most of them would have consecrated their family to the Sacred Heart.
Anglo-Indians who have emigrated have taken their musical and liturgical skills to parishes abroad. The Lopez family is one of them.
Straight away he joined the choir, and as I said, he had a beautiful voice. When he sang there in the choir that first Sunday, those people were wondering how he knew all the hymns, where he learnt it, because at that time all the hymns were familiar hymns that we were singing here. Then after that they used to employ him for weddings.
We do more than that, Richard. We are part of a choir. We sing in church regularly. And yes,
we go to Mass every day if we can.
Do you sing?
No, Richard, I've never been a singer. But you know, after this lockdown came in, I must make a confession to you. The services have so much of singing. So we keep singing along.
Whom do you follow in terms of your Mass online?
I love Michael Piperly. I enjoy his masses. There's Rob Gallier, which is really excellent. He comes on a Sunday. I do go to Logos Bangalore, Father Joe's, and I've seen a nice mass from, I've watched it very often from South Africa. It's the Jesuits. They're very good. Largely I've been with Michael Piperly. I feel that that priest is so down to earth.
Anglo-Indians are very religious, aren't we?
More ritualistic than real religion, because we like a good time, we like to have a sip, we like our dancing, we like our guitar playing, our smutty jokes, but nothing, no malafide in that. It's just, everyone must have a good time.
Your kiss to me is what a fortune. Your love for me is everything. I guess I'll never know the reason why I love you as I do. That's the wonder of you.
Yeah. But that Sunday Mass and all, we know what is mortal sin, what is venial sin, what makes a sin. Full knowledge, full consent, grave matter, all taught to us by Siva.
So we go to 9 churches and St. Jude and the housey we have, Mr. Gau. He has an housey in the church. We wait when that Sunday will come and we used to have nice fun.
How strong is your faith in God?
Oh, it has to be. I can't survive otherwise. That's what when this post came up, I said, how am I going to manage? I do nothing. I have no confidence in myself, and how will I do it? And then the verse that came to me was in 1 Corinthians chapter 1, 23 or 24 or something, where it says that he takes people who are ignorant and who are incapable of things and makes them do great things so that his strength and his power works through them.
Most of our children, I can say, from my observance I can say, they become very pious because there is such a lot of communication, WhatsApp, and we start sending religious texts and hymns and all that. Of course, there are things also which corrupt, but I think especially our girls are leading more religious lives because there are so many conventions, meetings I go to. I see a lot, dotted with a lot of Anglo-Indians, which we never used to see before.
It is this piety that often drives Anglo-Indians to undertake pilgrimages. Pilgrimages to the shrine of Our Lady of Mount Carmel at Kovalong, which in the past used to be by boat, and to that of St. Jude at Khartoum have been popular for decades. Our cameraman Nicholas Moses and I decided to join the group from Perambur on their pilgrimage to Khartoum in March 2017, and we were surprised to see 4 van loads of people on the trip. We paid our fare of Rs 120 each to the organizers, Mr. Godfrey Miskit and Mrs. June Mantle, and hopped onto a van. The journey took us about an hour and a half, and on the way hymns were sung, the rosary was said, and some gave their testimonies on how St. Jude interceded for them. This person conceived after 11 years. Mrs. Miskit survived a massive heart attack a few years ago, while this lady, Mrs. Hyson James, is praying for her son to excel in cricket. Those seeking emigration to Australia fervently prayed to St. Jude, calling him their visa saint.
So after Mum went there, she went and spoke to the priest and somebody else, and before a year was out, we got papers to go.
So the church helped the community?
There, yes, there.
Remember the name of the priest?
Yes. He was an Irish priest, Father McSweeney, John McSweeney.
How was it when you first moved to Sydney? Did it take time for you to adjust to
No, not at all, because I mean, we had a Western culture here anyway, so it was very easy. The language was no problem because everybody spoke English. Accent was slightly different, but we were very welcomed by the Australians.
But there were challenges on the way.
Or once or twice in a butcher shop, I said, look, I speak English better than you. I told him. And the same thing happened in the bank once. Standing, and they're calling next. And all these people were jutting off. I said, my money is the same as yours. As soon as you open your mouth, they think because of our color, we didn't know English. But it wasn't their fault because the Greeks, the Italians, the Lebanese all came before us, but no English. So they thought that
we were classified as Indian.
And we were classified as Indian. So they think Indian means dark people, no English, you know. So it was a bit hard.
Indeed, emigration has not been a walk in the park, and families had to give it their all.
It wasn't easy for us to go up to Australia, but they just kept pushing themselves and they were all out for us to go out to have a better life. Dad worked from one job to the other, worked on the rigs. Mum did as much as she could. And somehow they managed and got us across to Perth.
Emigration in the years following independence wasn't easy. Anglo-Indians struggled to get berths on board vessels, and with only £10 in their pocket, the foreign exchange restrictions at the time, they left like refugees for England. It was the same story with emigration to Australia and other countries until the era of liberalisation kicked in.
I guess everyone who comes here goes through those first 2 years are very hard. But once you pass those years and you get through everything, you get to know the system and the change of life over here, you get used to everything. And today we're laughing as people would say.
It started early, just after Indian independence. And then in the mid-60s, that's when the community really started to reduce the number. There were people just leaving for Australia, leaving India for Australia like hotcakes. Every day you had 2 or 3 families leaving. And Perambur, it was not only in Perambur, it was in Webury and other places.
Many parents gave up a settled career in India and moved overseas so as to give their children better opportunities.
Although we had good positions here, we were well off, we had our own house, we had good jobs, we were well respected. But for the sake of Jackie and for our education, we thought that was the best move.
Dad did it pretty tough. He, after having a really good life here, he pretty much went into a factory when we moved to Melbourne and worked shift work, 12 hours a day. And although he had a good sort of life here with hired help and things like that, there's no such thing for them when they got there. So
Dad worked very hard.
He worked extremely hard, and we didn't see much of him as well because he worked shift work. So often we only had a little window in the evenings with him when he was home.
You are leaving India in less than 48 hours.
Right.
How do you feel at this moment?
Good question, hard to answer, because when you have to leave your motherland, it's going to be really tough to know we were born, brought up, and to be here within a small community and leave everything behind and go. It's going to be really a challenge.
Are you looking forward to this?
Yes, it's going to be a second life, so everybody wants opportunities. You have to grab opportunities as it comes. So this is one of it, one big opportunity, and we don't know what we have in store. So we got to go start off all from scratch to another place. Looking forward to it, absolutely.
As they came to know that the Anglo-Indians were doing extremely well in Australia, more and more left India, and they were all doing well, mind you. There were many customs officers at the harbour and the airport who were doing extremely well, who left for the sake of their children.
The journey wasn't easy, as one's qualifications and job experience in India, however exceptional, were hardly recognized down under.
It was very hard for us to get jobs because I was not a graduate, and they didn't recognize my qualifications as a middle grade teacher. So it was very hard. So in the beginning, I had to just do relief teaching whenever they called me.
But before joining the public service, I got a job also in 3 weeks, but as a bouncer in a club, rugby, and I hated that job because my job was to throw to people. I'm just come to this country, and the girls who were 16-year-olds at that time looked like 21 and 22 or 23. I was not able to tell the age.
There were other challenges too.
In the beginning, it was hard. We couldn't even get rice.
So how did you manage in those days?
It was hard, very hard. Mother and father, and somehow, I don't know, all the early Anglo-Indians found this place in Bondi, which is from the suburbs, it's about an hour away. And
Bondi Beach is famous.
Bondi Beach, close to Bondi Beach, these, what are those people? Jewish people were bringing some Bombay Jews, were bringing it, importing it from Bombay. So you had to go all the way there to buy rice and all the condiments. So what we'll do every Saturday, someone or the other will be going, we'll give them a long list. Bring this, bring that.
That would have been a big expense.
So,
no, it was like an outing, and then take the kids to the beach.
I stayed with a very affluent Anglo-Indian family in a very nice spot on Bondi Beach. They had a beautiful home, they had 5 cars, they had come from the Gulf. They had all worked with British Airways, so they were very, very well off. And I stayed with them. And I stayed there for 3 months. I think something must have been wrong with my brain to stay in that silly place for 3 years because...
3 months or 3 years?
3 months, I'm sorry, 3 months. And you know why I didn't like it? Because you were haunted, surrounded, night and day by this horrible, horrible smell. It was there all the time. And I used to ask people, how do you live here? How do you live here? And they used to say, what smell? They were living there, so they had gone used to it.
My daughter was 9 months when I migrated in peak winter. Actually, in July we migrated. And being new to the country, being new as a mother, it was a really tough move. And luckily Ramsey found a job because it was the Olympics time, and he found a job, and we settled in fairly good.
In the first year in particular, my sisters and I were the only Indian kids in the school, and then a few of our cousins joined us, and pretty much we were the only kids with brown skin in the whole school. And it was quite an interesting thing for the other kids. They didn't really know much about India or Indians. They see someone with darker skin, and then all the jokes. Australians have an indigenous people called the Aboriginals. We copped all the Aboriginal jokes, and some people would say, where are you from, or what are you? And I said, I'm Indian, and they would make the noise of a red Indian because they actually didn't know. They were thinking about things that they'd seen on TV and so on. So there was actually a lot of ignorance, I guess, from an immigration perspective.
When I was at the Department of Aviation, my work colleague asked me, Joe, could you hand over this paper to the Assistant Secretary, AY? So I asked him, what does AY stand for? He says, AY. Yes, I know, but what does it stand for? AYZL. Oh, gosh. So anyway, I went up as he directed and saw a board, Assistant Secretary, Airways.
Fortunately, off the board. Yes.
Yes, exactly. So the accent was a bit of a problem initially.
But your accent hasn't changed. You talk like any other Anglo-Indian.
Yes, because I went there at the age of 33. But those who go there at the age of 10 or 12 or 14 or 15, especially 5, they all speak like Aussies. If you go there at the age of 15 or 16, you're semi.
So you don't try to put on an accent at work?
No.
Yeah, racism in Australia was very, very prevalent when we went to Australia in the 80s. Because first and foremost, we were dark-skinned, so they considered us like lower than what they were. But they thought that because we were from India, we didn't know how to speak English. But when they heard me speaking English, they were shocked. And then in the end of the day, I used to even write all their letters, do all their tax returns, all the girls that I worked with, and they were all Australian. But unfortunately, they couldn't do what I was able to do for them, and they much appreciated that.
Yes, they always wonder how we got English names.
We have had to explain to a few people what an Anglo-Indian is, yes.
To my good luck, the school opened in February. The teacher who took this little group of Italians and Lebanese and what is the other? A few others, Croatians. These three combinations didn't agree, and they were big, hefty boys mostly. So in the classroom, they would play up with that Aussie teacher. She chucked it in within 6 weeks. So when I reached in March, she had gone. And I had this small little room with these big boys, about 12 of them. But looking at me and my color, they felt a little bit at home, because I said, look, I'm a migrant. I know all of you and your parents have come from, some of them were born there, but their parents couldn't speak English.
The Anglo-Indians are lucky because we're very good at English, which makes using computers very easy for us, which makes communicating with other people in the office good for us. And we have a leading edge over Indians and other Asians, like the Chinese. I think we speak very good English. That helps us with our professional.
What are your views of the community in Australia? How's the community faring?
It's fantastic. I love it. If you got a little bit of Anglo in you, then Australia is the place. I just love it. Like the things, just the things that you grew up with, your 3-chord songs and guitar and country music and dancing and parties starting at 12 midnight because because that's when the Anglo parties really start.
My daughter got married in 2000 and she migrated to Canada.
Where's your son now?
My son is in Australia, Melbourne.
Okay.
He's trying to take me, but unfortunately this COVID virus is coming and can't do much. So I have to wait and I have to do God's will in my life.
I didn't have the heart to, but you just like you've been hurting me. Someone had to teach you things it's time that you now maybe you'll be satisfied with me.
Joe Bailey founded the Australian Anglo-Indian Association of Canberra in 1995 as he felt that there was an urgent need for the community's identity to be recognised in Australia in view of its tremendous contribution in hockey, cricket and other fields.
When I went to Australia, there were so many Anglo-Indians doing extremely well in sport, in hockey, in cricket, bodybuilding, but no one knew they were Anglo-Indians because of their name. They thought they were all Aussies. But yet, if an Italian did well, a Greek did well, a South American did well, an African did well, by the names, you can tell, this chap's Italian, or this chap's from the Middle East. But for example, Stuart Clark now, with the captain of New South Wales and Australia's fast bowler, no one ever knew he's of Anglo-Indian descent.
He had a Perambur connection?
Webury. I think his parents lived opposite Roxy, the old Roxy Theatre. Yes. And the Trevor Vanderpet, one of the great coaches in Australia.
From Calcutta?
Yeah, from Calcutta. Manfred Hamilton from Calcutta also. He was Mr. Universe in the Masters, I think the age of 60s, in the 60-year group. The hockey players like the Pierce brothers, there's Paul Goodine, who was he's of Anglo-Indian descent, coach of the women's team. He was vice coach, assistant coach with Rick Charlesworth as coach for the men's team. See, no one knows that. Till today, no one knows.
Joe is adept at networking and often invites the Chief Minister or key ministers and MLAs of the Australian Capital Territory to attend community events.
In 1993, there were only two associations, the Australian Anglo-Indian Association of Canberra and the Indian Australian Association at that time. But since 2010, the Indian population now has increased a lot because you've got the Telangana, the Andhra, the Karnataka, the Tamil, the West Bengal, Maharashtra, Haryana. You got so there are about 26 associations now.
Okay. But do these associations meet on a common platform at any stage?
Yes, because now they have formed the Federation of Indian Associations of the ACT, and likewise.
Are you a member of that?
Yes, we are members. We are members. In fact, I'm one of the founding members.
There are quite a few Anglo-Indian families in Canberra, some of whom are members of his association. One hopes that more would join the association now that it has been given the challenging task of hosting the 12th World Anglo-Indian Reunion in 2022. Joe Bailey has the advantage of having attended 9 of the last 11 reunions and is quite keen on showcasing the community to Australian society at the next.
It's not just having a reunion and having fun among yourselves. Yes. Yeah, you really got to promote your community, like they did in Chennai. Anglos and Indians did a great job. We're having all these journalists there. The governor of Tamil Nadu, who went to an Anglo-Indian school, who knows about the Anglo-Indian community, speak at the meet and greet.
Are the reunions merely a nostalgic affair, I ask?
I think it is fruitful. I also think it is oftentimes dominated by nostalgic impulses, which aren't bad. I don't think they're bad. Everybody needs to savor their memories and the things in their life that have been special. And so it is an older crowd often who attends, especially if it involves a lot of travel, which younger people might not be able to afford the time or the money to do it. But people also have said after each of the last few reunions, this will be the last, the next one won't happen. And yet each time 3 more years rolls around, another crowd of about 2,000 people show up. And so, so what does that mean? It means that younger Anglo-Indians are coming to these things gradually over time. Young at a reunion might mean 50 or 55.
I've also published a paper on the reunions, looking at them as a ritual and pilgrimage for Anglo-Indians that they engage in, so that they can be Anglo-Indian for a week. That's something that has been seems really important to them.
Think of 2 young lovers running wild and free. I close my eyes and sometimes see you in the shadows of this smoke-filled room. No telling how many tears I sat here and cried, or how many lies that I've lied, telling my poor heart she'll come back someday. Oh, but I'll be alright as long as there's light from a neon moon.
The 11th reunion was in fact held at Madras, and apart from the song, dance and camaraderie, there were earnest events evaluating and showcasing the community, such as the Books and Authors event at Loyola College, the photography exhibition at the same venue, which included a presentation by Alison Khan, an Anglo-Indian scholar from Oxford University, and a symposium at Stella Maris College, which witnessed exceptional presentations by the likes of N. Ram, Gopal Krishna Gandhi, Alan Seeley, Barry O'Brien, and others. The grand ball held at the ITC Grand Chola had the stamp of Anglo-Indian culture and class and signed off the reunion week in style.
I have attended few of the great functions, courtesy Richard O'Connor, but I was feeling apologetic for myself because I was not able to dance the way they were all dancing. It was a very, very great reunion. I look forward for another invite as and when it happens. Probably I may not wine or dine, but the revelry, the regalia, and the great times that they spread around, the cheer, the ambience is just, it's not superfluous, it is stupendous, beautiful.
Needless to say, a Thanksgiving Mass was also held the morning after the ball at the majestic cathedral at Santhome. Here at Khartoum, the St. Jude's Shrine was packed with Anglo-Indians for the 10:30 a.m. English Mass. New emigration also helps bolster community life in Australia.
But people that have moved in the last 10 years have certainly it's sparked some more interest in Anglo-Indian. Definitely music, I think Anglo-Indians are very good at. They all know how to play guitar. I don't know how to play guitar, I wish I did. But they all know how to have fun. Anglo-Indians are generally people very fun-loving. They like to entertain. So hopefully that continues.
I asked the parish priest at Perambur about the Anglo-Indian community.
They're very generous. Whenever I ask for anything, like building homes for the poor or some renovation in the church, a part of the community will always be there. Whatever I suggest, they'll back me up.
When Father Joe mentioned that there are still Anglo-Indian priests such as Father Dominic Matthews, Father Cassius Correa, and even a youngster of his parish who is doing his theology down under, I asked him, why so few vocations nowadays?
Today, it's a big challenge for the Anglo-Indian community because children, big problem. They have only one child, many families, and so to send that one child, even now in my parish, a small boy is asking me, I'm going to join Father. So the openness is still there. Let's pray that God may touch the hearts of the Anglo-Indians, because their contribution will be much appreciated in the church and also in the Salesian congregation and other congregations.
More Anglo-Indians got into religion, they can add a lot of value to the world.
Yes, there were the likes of Pepin, the Reverend Pepin.
Yes.
And I don't know if there are any other Anglo-Indian reverends whom you recall.
I remember when we knew some like Cameron DeCoste, even though they might not have been like fully qualified into the priesthood, but they were all serving God. Austin Lippert. You've got quite a few in Madras.
Anglo-Indian presence is found in all denominations of Christianity.
The Anglican tradition, Reverend Clare, Reverend Wild, he was big in St. George's School. I think they have influenced Anglo-Indians a lot.
And the more I try to be a Christian, the more I try to follow the teaching of Christ, the more I feel the excitement in life.
From Anglo-Indian friends is that whenever I was angry with someone, they used to tell me, Dorai, forget it, forgive it. Forgiveness is the most noblest thing you can do. Forgive. Once I learned to forgive, I was free of all toxic things in my mind. Love flowed from the bottom of my heart.
Then sings my soul, my Saviour God, to thee. How great thou art, how great thou art.
Then sings my soul, my Saviour God, to thee. How great thou art, how great thou art.
Great is thy faithfulness, O God my Father. There is no shadow of turning with thee. Thou changest not, thy compassions, they fail not. As thou hast been, thou forever will be.
Righteousness, peace, and joy in the Holy Ghost, that's the kingdom of God. Righteousness, peace, and joy in the Holy Ghost. Righteousness, peace, and joy in the Holy Ghost, that's the kingdom of God. That's the kingdom of God. That's the kingdom
days when we were guided by our faith, isn't it? Today we find lots of youngsters are not able to come to church. Their jobs are taking away their. We can't blame them sometimes because the type of jobs they get, it's nice. But still, the weekends you don't find them. They are all partying or going to discos and clubs where they are not able to come for a mass on Sunday. Those days it was totally different. We spent all our time in church.
I don't remember a day during childhood when we never said family prayers. Every single day. That's out the window now. So as a community, people change. This having time now to pray. Church is about the only time where you focus on that. But
So church is more about prayer or about community life?
for me, community. Yeah, prayer for me is very personal. It's extremely personal. So
I stopped going to church when I was 18. For personal belief systems, I don't believe in organized religion. I believe in God, but not in organized religion.
They were priests committed to the profession. Now it is commercial.
So you go to Assembly of God, eh?
Any church.
Except the Catholic.
God is everywhere.
Except the Catholic.
No, I go for funeral masses, christening masses. I'm invited for some of them. So it's a variation of mass. First Holy Communion, then memorial services. It's not just the regular Sunday mass where, I feel I'm marked present there. Last week I was marked absent.
So you were born a Protestant?
Yeah.
Okay. But somewhere in your spiritual journey, you've become Pentecostal?
Through my sister Esme. She's a polio, and from the age of 3 years, she was affected with a polio, and through her, the full family has come out for the Lord, through her life.
Some attend the late Sam Cheladurai's Apostolic Fellowship Tabernacle in Wepri. Others worship at the Assembly of God in Littlemount. A few are also Jehovah's Witnesses.
Are you still a Jehovah's Witness?
I'm still a Jehovah's Witness.
Okay, where do you go to worship?
We have kingdom halls all over Chennai. We have different branches all over Chennai. So whichever is closest to us, like when I was in St. Thomas Mount, I used to go to Alandur, and now I'm in Manapakam. So we have, now that we are in Manapakam, we have a lot of places like Valsarvakam and Santo. There are a lot of branches everywhere today.
The Risen Christ Church is a few minutes away from Perambur and is popular with Catholics staying at Peravalur, Kolathur and Periyar Nagar.
You are staying here very close to Perambur, and where do you go for your Mass?
I go to Risen Christ Church, which is just down the road. It's a nice place, and the people who come out there are great.
You have a few Anglos here?
Plenty. We have both the choirs out there. I think it's all the juniors and the seniors. They are great.
The majority of Anglo-Indians are Roman Catholic and strongly believe in the intercessory power of Mary.
Deeply devoted to Our Lady, because Our Lady of Lourdes Shrine, I was baptized there. I had my first communion there, confirmation. I got married there. My eldest son, Morris, was baptized in Perambur.
So you must be saying the rosary
every day. We were brought up that way, Richard. Dad made the rosary something very important, and we continued
and
it.
you passed on that to your children?
I did. They both wear rosaries around their necks, actually. Although they both moved out from here. Morris is in Sydney, and Nathaniel is in New Zealand.
There seems to be a doubt that the third secret of Fatima is still not released, and many of the scholars today feel that we are going through that time now.
You used to be active in the church?
Very active. Up to now, I'm active. I'm a vice president in the Legion of Mary. I'm a secretary for my zone, St. Alphonsus zone, and I take part in the rosaries. Tomorrow too, I'm going to say the rosary, worldwide rosary in a grotto, and send it to the main person. We visit hospitals, we visit homes, visit the sick, we make families to get together,
We settle fights among husband and wife. We do all that.
Okay.
Give thanks with a grateful heart. Give thanks to the Holy One. Give thanks because He's given Jesus Christ His Son. And now let the weak say, I am strong. Let the poor say, I am rich because of what the Lord has done for us. And now let the weak say, I am strong. Let the poor say, I am rich because of what the Lord